Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing Code Geass Akito the Exiled Episode 2 review. There were a couple things to note in this episode that I want to talk about, and something that I mentioned in the first review that I just picked up on in watching the second episode. Couple of things. C2 did not appear in this episode, which was really weird because in the preview they show her from the first episode to the next episode, which is weird because that was also like the thing that was shown in Japan, obviously. So that was weird that C2 was not in this episode, so I'm hoping she'll be in the next episode. But another thing to note was that I noticed from this episode that I didn't even catch on in the previous episode is the pronunciation of how they're saying Britannia. For anyone who has watched the English dub for the first two seasons, which was done by Bandai, reprinted by Funimation, they call Britannia Britannia. However, in this dub, they are calling them Britannia. They're pronouncing it Britannia rather than Britannia. Now, I don't know if this is done specifically because they're in the EU, because it's a foreign country and they're doing that on purpose, or if this is what they're actually calling them now, which to me is really inconsistent since the other dub is calling them Britannia, which is the dub that they go by. Really weird. I prefer the Britannian pronunciation better than Britannia, because Britannia just sounds weird. But that was one thing I picked up on that I guess they're doing. I hope they're not doing this for season 3. I'm hoping this is like some foreign thing that they're doing, that they decided to call them that for a foreign, but the narrator called it that too, which again to me was really weird. That they would change the pronunciation of how they say Britannia. So that's something to note for a lot of people that are watching. So this episode, you got it's like about a month after the events of the first episode, I guess, as that's what I believe Leila had said, since the three Japanese people that tried to kill them or capture them or whatever there are now in her squad. And so they're gonna basically they're like watching them in the the castle that they're in. They go through a lot of different things. You got Anna, who's Leila's friend. She's in there. They go through different plans. One of the other people that's a European soldier, tells her, you can't really trust them. He even goes behind her back and, says we should execute these people, these 11s are Japanese. He corrected himself, because, they just tried to kill Smiles or whatever, Gene Smiles. And he says, Gene approved of this, even though, they tried to, kill him earlier, because it was Leila's decision. So, yeah, the whole plot of this episode. By the way, a lot of the graphics and fight scenes were really good. I want to put that out there. It was all, to set up a battle, and I guess to set up what they wanted to do towards Britannia's, I guess, because they did show a lot of text of a lot of characters, that are Britannians in this, Britannian territory, I should say, in Europe, which to me is kind of weird that there would be Britannian territory in Europe since it's, their land, but I guess there is. But I guess it sort of makes sense since, Britannia is like at this point in the story is one of the biggest countries out there besides the Chinese Federation. Chinese Federation were the second biggest in the Code Geass timeline from the Holy Britannian Empire. So it sort of makes sense, but it's kind of a little weird. And then we find more about Shin Hyuga because, obviously we know he, killed the previous leader of his group there to take over, and they do kind of the inauguration for him, I guess, with the swords and stuff. It was really weird because he's a Britannian, or supposedly he's a Britannian, but at the same time, he's clearly Japanese because he's got Hyuga. So there's some stuff really that they got to clear up here because he's now the leader. Obviously, he became an honorary Britannian. I'm assuming that got up into the ranks, but I can't imagine him being able to get that far up the ladder with Britannian discriminating as much as they did. Suzaku did, but Suzaku did it because Suzaku was more of a, what he did was capture, the terrorist, as they called him, Lelouch, or AKA, Zero. That doesn't mean that, they typically do that type stuff all the time. So that was really interesting. And then also you got, I believe he is, the three people, that joined Leila's group because they had to. I believe her name's Leila and Ryo and Yukino. They all, mainly Yukio because he's like the geek basically of the group that can do all this weird shit. He set up a camera or he hacked the camera system so the security people couldn't see what they were doing and put fake footage in there so they could try to escape. When they tried to escape, Leila went after Ano, I believe her name is. Ano. I still got to get used to all these people's names. And she basically convinces her that she's going to join the front with them, when they go into the space mission, because that's their plan, is to, to test out these, these small nightmare frames that they're doing. And they're testing them out in space, and she convinces them, she's going to go with them. While this is going on, Akito, goes after the geek, bomb geek over here, and he's threatening to set off the bomb and stuff, and he explains to them, this, what they can do, and eventually convinces them, after he tells the story, to join him. And so that's what happens. And then eventually Leila convinces Ryo as well to join the group, or to join the mission. So they go into space. They do well after that. They go through the blueprints and stuff like that. What they're gonna do with the whole group. And Annie is is not happy about this, because she's like, I guess, her friend, one of her closest friends. But Leila's gonna do it. They show a scene of actually Leila changing into her space outfit, which was pretty cool, if I say so myself. Just saying. So then they go into space. It was really cool that I thought it was a really cool animation with the space and stuff like that they were going. And eventually they head back down to Earth when they're all done. And then they start, scouting through everything. And it appears that Rago is attacking them, or because it was a simulation originally, and then you got them being attacked by the Britannian, people. But before I get more into that, I forgot to also mention that while this was going on, we had a scene with Suzaku Kururugi, looking at, he's on a train, yeah, it's a train, and he's looking through the outside, and then when he goes to the next room, you see somebody who sounds like Johnny Youngbosh, or sounds like Lelouch, just saying, but obviously we know his name is Julius Kingsley, but he hasn't said this yet, but we already pretty much know this. I mean, we already knew this, so I mean, I'm not trying to head off high wheels over in here. So that was, a really good scene, to make them debut, because they're obviously coming from Area 11, or aka Japan. So that was going on. Anyways, so basically then the Britannian knights, before they even started the battle, they also showed one of them, before they even set out, they showed this one dude like saying, "Do you feel lucky?" or whatever, and he I was thinking, when he said you feel lucky or whatever, everything is about luck, no matter how your skills were, and as he was pointing that gun, I will kid you not, the first thing I thought of was Derry Harry, when he said you feel lucky. I was like, okay, so yeah, anyways, so he does, like, pretend soldier dude, like, he pretend, like, he does this whole thing, no matter how strong you are or skilled you are, luck was not on your side, that's how everything works and stuff like that. So then he puts a gun to himself, and there's one bullet in the gun. There's one barrel bullet in the gun, and he shoots it at himself, and it doesn't come out because he had one of the empty shell casings on him, not the one that had the bullet in him. So he doesn't get killed by his own bullet. And so then one of the girls for Shin's group, Shin Hyuga's group, comes in and says, you need to stop doing this stuff. And he's like, what's the matter? Do you feel lucky? Or whatever. And then he points it at her and then tries to shoot the gun at her, and it doesn't go off. So he's like, oh, luck must be on your side as well. Yeah. Anyways, so that was how that whole sequence went. Anyways, so then on to the battle. They are being attacked, and they're like, they have to go into battle. Leila is trying to, assemble everyone, and try to, order and tell them what they have to do, since she's the commander. But what ends up happening is Akito tells her to go to safety, and get out of here, and she'll take care of it. So she goes out of harm's way, and then there was also a little blushing moment. So I think Leila kind of has a thing for Akito as well. I'm just saying, which doesn't surprise me at all. But after that happens, we find out more about this whole hidden Geass power from Akito. Akito's eyes start to glow, similar to the way Suzaku Kururugi's glows, which kind of surprises me. Actually, I was actually surprised by this because this is he does not have a Geass power. I thought Akito had a Geass power, and I was wrong. Akito has a hidden eternal power inside of him from a Geass spell, like Suzaku Kururugi, for example. If you watch the main series, in the Code Geass, Lelouch basically inadvertently told Suzaku to live, and so Suzaku had to follow that for the rest of time, or as long as he's able to live. So Suzaku has to live, and that's basically what Akito is in a spell with. Akito, when he was a kid, was supposed to die, and so someone implanted a Geass power or a spell inside of him to die. Now, it's very interesting because when you say the word die, they're supposed to kill themselves, but Akito, unlike what Lelouch has done when he has ordered people to die with his Geass power, he lived. So it was really unclear what his spell of him dying was about, because it's kind of weird that, someone would tell him to die, but he doesn't actually die, he lives, but it still has that spell inside of him. So when this happens, this activates when it looks like he's about to get beaten, and it gives him like this enhanced power with his nightmare. They're not even really nightmares; they're kind of like downgrades to nightmares, by the way. The three other people that Leila recruited, that tried to kill them in the previous episode, they start to glow, and they start doing the die thing as well, and the table starts turning. Great fight scenes. They're just beating the crap out of these nightmares, and it's like they can't believe it. Like, they can't believe how they're getting their butts whooped to these to these guys. And so Shin Hyuga is like, oh my god, you're alive after all. And then they show the flashback, of him using, in his younger years, his Geass on, it appears to be a younger Akito. And, they're doing die, and they're taking him down. They're taking even down the best guy, and he can't believe it. He's like, he's so strong, but now luck apparently isn't on his side, So eventually, once everyone else is defeated, Akito is about to go in and kill, his best soldier, Shin's best soldier, which I believe was Ashley, right? Yeah, Ashley. And Jean was the girl, by the way. The girl. I don't. Yeah, no, Ashley, and just kind of weird for a guy's name, by the way. And Jean, who is Jean spelled with a J. It's kind of weird. The girl, and he was overwatching the battle with Sheen, because he was like, "What's going on?" How they're getting their butts whooped. Once he is about to get defeated, one of the guys, his followers, that he was talking about, saying, "Do you feel lucky?" About earlier, actually stepped in and sacrificed himself to die for Ashley. Um, After the Geass spell was about to fade, um, everybody who was under that spell actually seen Akito's of how he got that spell. So now they all know what he went through as a kid, because they seen that memory. Um, it was really weird to explain because at first when they all connected with that spell, I thought, how is that possible? How can they basically lose their consciousness to Akito spell, since he doesn't have a Geass power, he just has this spell implanted in him. We've never seen this happen with Suzaku, so it was never really a good explanation. They kind of, some of the people analyzing their nightmares kind of explained that all their brain waves were in sync with Akito's, but to me it was just kind of weird and kind of didn't make sense because it's not something we've never seen. It's not something we've seen before in Code Geass. It's something new because, like I said, Suzaku's the only one who really has had a spell like this last this long, and we never really seen him attached to other people like this, where he can control them through his own spell and thoughts. So this is obviously a first. So it's kind of a little new and interesting to see that, to see something different like this being done. After the spell wears off, then we see Hyuga, get in his nightmare, basically get to the battlefield, tells Ashley to retreat. He doesn't like it, but he does eventually do that. And then after that, you see, him tell now the almost destroyed nightmare that Akito's in, because he just basically takes it out easily. It's been a while, brother, and so he ends up getting out, and they talk for a little bit, because makes sense, because they both have the same last name, that they're brothers. Now Leila had referred to he talking to a Britannian knight, which again to me is really weird because it was stated in the previous episode that Akito Hyuga is Japanese, not Britannian. That his brother is somehow Britannian. I don't know for sure if Sheen is an actual Britannian, because Leila referred to him as a Britannian knight, which could mean that he is an honorary Britannian that made his way up to the food chain somehow. I can't buy into the fact that he could be a half-breed Britannian, because if he was a half-breed Britannian, that means, like Colin was, that means Akito would have to have been one, because obviously Akito is the little sibling. So, to me, it wouldn't make sense. So there has to be more to the story than meets the eye. So there was that. Eventually, Ryo comes in, starts shooting him down, and then he eventually leaves because it looked like Akito was going to follow him, because he had said, you must die with me, that the heavens, let you live, I guess, after I wanted you dead, all those years ago. And he basically, says, join me, and stuff like that. And Ryo comes in there, he ends up leaving then after that. after that is all over with, because he said it was his brother, or it looked like his brother. And then after that, we see Suzaku and Julius come in again. Suzaku, is now a knight of her round, and he meets up with, the other people that are in the European Britannian territory. And then Julius Kingston comes out and he says, I wanted a welcome party. From now on, I want millions of people here to see my arrival. Next time, there better be that, and I'm going to make sure of it, or whatever. And Julius Kingston officially introduces himself officially into the story, since now they're officially at the EU. And then finally we see a scene with, Leila and Akito talking, and, him explaining that he thinks it looks like his brother, and he's like, well, how can, he want to kill you, or whatever, if, he's your brother. And he says, I haven't seen him since I was a kid. For all I know, he's just a stranger to me. And that's pretty much the end of it. It was a very good second episode. I very much enjoyed it. I was disappointed not to see C2 in this, since she was in the preview for this episode. I'm hoping she'll be in the next episode. There was also a couple scenes of the Lancelot and other things like that, and then it was just pretty much the same credits again. No theme song, since, well, there was no theme song in the previous episode as well, but I didn't really mention that in my first review. I'm guessing because, again, this was a movie. Some OVAs do have theme songs, but I guess since this was a movie, they decided not to do a theme song. This was a movie in Japan, not a movie here, but a movie in Japan, all the years that they did these. So I guess that's why they didn't have a theme song. Not that it would matter, because they wouldn't English dub it anyway, so really didn't matter to me anyways. But, oh no, they'll never English dub these theme songs. It's stupid. But yeah, overall it was a really good episode. I really liked it. Still getting used to a little bit of the new names. It was really good again to finally see officially Suzaku and Lelouch and Julius Kingston back in the screens with their respective English voice actors. It was really cool to see them with some of the new with the new blood that's now in the show. And I'm looking forward to episode 3. We got 3 episodes left of this mini-series, but obviously it's over an hour of screen time because it's got this theatrical thing, but it's really good and really refreshing to see some new Code Geass contents. I am still salty that the logos are not in bold English like the Bandai used to do. They got this little small English text, and then they got this big Japanese bold text, where Bandai did the opposite. They specially made an English, logo in bold, and then, put the Japanese symbols in the bottom there. That's what they did for the original releases for the DVDs for the Bandai sets, but they don't do that for Funimation, and they're not doing it for the Akito series, which really annoys me. But in terms of the quality of the anime, very good. I do like Leila. I do like Leila, and I do like Akito. I like these characters. They're really interesting and really different, and it really brings something new to the table to the series of Code Geass. I wish these characters would be actually around, in the later parts of the series, or at least in season 3, but I'm assuming I don't know if something's going to happen to them. We'll find out in the next 3 episodes, obviously, but it'd be kind of cool to see these guys again, these cats again, in the, because they're obviously not in the Not Wonderland. Hopefully we get Not Wonderland licensed. The best chance for Not Wonderland to get licensed is when season 3 of Code Geass comes up for licensing for Funimation, because there's a back order right now for this OVA series, so there is a good chance, with the sales being the way they are, that we could possibly get more Code Geass contents, which I'm hoping for, that we can get that other OVA series, or that other special OVA, Non-Elite Wondersland, with the season 3 being English dubbed at the same time. That'd be our best chance to get it. So I hope we do. But yeah, overall that was my review. I hope you enjoyed this episode review. 3 more to go. But yeah, a lot of reviews to do this week, hopefully. But let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate if you like this video or any of my other videos. Please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace.